Okay, this is New Year's 2023, New Year's Day, and it's time to take the show down. This is my first year doing the show. It's my first year taking it down. So I had already started, and then I decided I wanted to try to do a little quick video that maybe will help out a new person on what I did, how I did it. I know there's been a lot of questions, a lot of new people like I was last year, and seeing somebody's show absolutely helped. So I've got about 8,000 pixels, including the matrix. My Tune 2 sign is just a simple sign from Holiday Coro and repurposed spiral tree Matos Garage Matrix. I 3D printed these. You can buy them at Wally's, I believe. Those are really cool going up and down my pathway. But these were, just daisy chained all the way up to my controller. There's 9 lights in each, so there's not a lot of lights, but there's a lot of cord. There's one of my controllers, and there's another controller. I actually had 3 controllers in my show. One of the big questions is mega trees. Sorry for the tree branch. Mega trees. Mine's not very mega. It's about, 9 feet, 75 pixels at 1.25 inch spacing. I got 21 strands, running it off of a Matos Designs, or not off of Matos Designs Sasquatch, but off of a Culp K8. I've got a Matos Design Dragon 8 controller as well, but it came in late, so I didn't use it. Used it to test. I did a portable base, and my portable base I have anchored with just 18-inch rebar, or 2-foot rebar, 24-inch rebar in 4 different spots. That is based off of Monk House's design for a portable base. It's also out on Matos Designs. That is their Sasquatch portable base, whole, and filled it with concrete, cut my wood, and I made my own hoop just out of bending 3/4 inch EMT. And what I did to secure it, I also did guy wires, 4 guy wires, also 24-inch rebar, and it did very well. This tree did not shake at all. It's got a 2-foot star, 24-inch star, Matos topper. But here's what I did for my base, and it did just fine. I used some maker pipe fittings to give me a pipe across, and then my semicircle. My semicircle, I put feet on it so it would lay hard on the ground, and then I used multiple wraps of paracord into a 10-inch, I don't even know what they're called, Vortex. You get them from Lowe's, Home Depot, screw-in stakes. They work very well. I mean, none of it has come up, and we've had a couple storms, nothing like that went across the Midwest, but we've had some good storms, and it hasn't pulled up at all. My rebar has not gone anywhere. I hope to go up to probably 12 feet, add another 50, 25, 50, whatever to get me up there. But I've got this tree to contend with, and it's really the only good place I've got on my yard to do this mega tree. But I went up and down, as you can see in there. I went up one strand, down, up the next, and that was 1 port on the controller. Since I've got 8 ports and 21 strands, I divided that by 3, which gives 7. So I go up, down, up, and that ends 1 on 1 port, and then the next port, and so on all the way around. This tree is really neat when you can crank it up and crank it down. I didn't have to, but should a big storm arise, you can. You don't have to get on ladders. Very nice. I did some meteors hanging from my tree. I self-built those with PVC pipe, drilling, and then mounting my 13 pixels. from a P-Stake Pixels. My windows are pretty simple. They are just PVC outlines, drilled. I have a drill press so I could drill those holes. Some came out very well, some I need to work on again. Live and learn. But it's since I have a steel header up there, I could just put magnets, and the magnets held very well. I didn't have to do anything else to attach these to my house. The snowflakes, I did put steel plates, so I could use magnets on that as well and just magnetize those. Of course, they did not move at all either. I do have Matos Designs RGB trim, and that has worked out phenomenally. Up top, kind of more the same, except for I did not use magnets. I did use magnets for the snowflakes, but as you can see, I also tied them up just to make sure the wind didn't blow them off, which it didn't even phase. Up at the very top, I actually printed and had to screw in because I didn't like the way that the plates looked, and I didn't trust the magnets. Probably shouldn't have trusted the magnets, but I didn't like the way the plates looked. They didn't look clean. So I actually printed these clips, and the PVC just snaps in. And down here, all I did was tie it back to the window. I just stuck a string through the window and shut the window on it, and it worked very well to hold back that window trim. Easy. Same thing here. I have the steel header, and I just printed off these 3 clips, put my HPDE or HDPE, whatever it's called, up on these magnetic clips and just hung them. Because it was a little uneven, I had to use 3 on here and 2 on here. For whatever reason, this side wanted to blow a lot more in the wind. So as far as routing, here I just use zip tie. I zip tied to a hook that I had, and then went back to my light and down. Probably not the most pretty, but it works. And this was my PPD wreath. It is actually clipped up on there. I actually drilled these little clips into that bottom section of the window. It's all wood. I didn't really want to do it, but that's what I had to do because that is really heavy. I also anchored it through the window just in case if it fell, it wouldn't fall all the way to the ground. Same with that window as the other one. Routing the cables down, I routed back down to a hook, and then on this window, on this shutter, I actually just put a sticky tie mounting and ran that down. This window is exactly the same. They're all magnets to holding the snowflakes, magnets on the header. This was the controller, K32 Culp, that ran FPP and third of my show. You can still see I've still got things plugged in, have not taken that one down. I did put external speakers so you can hear the music if you're standing out in the yard. And oh, my FM antenna was just off the Culp. I just ran it with the little Culp card that they have, and ran my speaker wire. Actually, it's a stranded copper wire. I don't even know what gauge, 16 gauge, all the way up to the top. It did very well. I could hear it. I could hear it way out there at the end of the street. I could hear it up in that court, and I could hear it most of the way down that court. So it worked very well. I did have a Santa's Workshop that is 350 pixels, I want to say, that ran off of one port. 30% brightness, which is what I ran most of my show at. Those door matrices are $399, 400 pixels. They ran off of one port. They ran off successfully. I was pretty shocked, but I'm at 30% brightness. If I did it anymore, it'd be super bright. And then on to my mini trees. I got 3 mini trees. They are all 200 pixels each, and then the stars like 70 and 40. Single, double, single. I like how it looks, so I'll keep it that way next year. 200 each, so it's like 270, 240, all off of one port. So the port goes back to this controller back here, which controls the left side of my show. Obviously the other one was the right side of my show. I did run network, so these are hardwired and not wireless. So that worked pretty well. This controller here is actually one of the new Genius controllers by Experience Lights, and it worked very well. It did freeze up twice on me. No big deal, rebooted it and everything came back to life. Unfortunately, I was home and watching when it did it, so not a big deal. While I'm talking controllers, I'll go back to my Megatree. This was my Culp K8, and my Culp K8 ran wirelessly. So I ran it on Wi-Fi. I had great signal out here. It didn't skip a beat. No lag. It ran the show exactly the way it was supposed to run it, which made me wonder, could I run my entire show wirelessly instead of dragging out the hard wires? But it worked. I don't know if I want to do these that way, but we'll see next year. I ran my show off of DDP and not E131 because that's what everybody recommended. It ran great from the FPP on my Culp K32. I had to run I don't even remember what the setting is, FP Connect and UDP to broadcast to that controller right there, and it'd be the same thing with the Matos Dragon. So it ran great. It did wonderful. I've got the RGB trim up top there. I've got the RGB trim on my garage, and I've got my Matos Garage Matrix. 4 panels. Ran great. It looked good. I'm running each. I got power balancing. I ran each section off of one port, so it's 4 sections, 4 ports. The first set that I bought had power balancing connections along the bottom, so I could put power along the panel, which took care of flickering, not having enough brightness. But in the end, when I got this new panel at the bottom, they didn't have the same thing. And I didn't have to do anything different with it. I didn't have to power balance it. So, not sure what the differences are, but it ran very well. Because I got it later in the season, the spacing was kind of out of whack, because this had been able to rest on the door for a while, and this one did not. So over the next year when I put it up, I should be able to make this a little more even, although it looked great from the road. I'm not very far from the road, so I would love it more dense so that the videos and the characters were better. This is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a 2-inch spacing, I believe is what it was. 1.5 inches, 1 inch would be awesome, but you're you know, significantly increasing your pixels. The reason why I did buy this from Matos is because he showed it as being a garage matrix. I won't show you my code, but I can show you the garage, and this is why I did it. This is exactly why I did it. I can roll my garage up. I can roll it down. Right now I got a tight cable, but it wasn't like that earlier. That one just kind of got hung on the brick. But I can roll the garage matrix up inside the garage, and I can bring it down, and everything works. Well, I need more hands. Everything works when it comes right back down. So we can get in. You can get inside the garage. You can do whatever you need to, and you don't have to take it down, move it, slide it to the side. I've seen some other solutions. So that's what I went with, and that's what I'll keep for a while. You can see my cable's coming down for my roof my roof lines, but they go to the one controller. And then my longest run is probably going over to my tune tube and my spiral tree. So all in all, it was a pretty simple build. It was a pretty easy build. It did take about a year, 10 months or so, because there was just a lot to learn, a lot to do. This putting it up took me all of November to do, because I hadn't laid it out. I knew where it was going on the house, but I really hadn't looked at how to do it on the house, where to do it on the house, and how I was going to do it on the house, how I was going to mount it. And then I had to print a bunch of stuff. I'll show you these lights real quick. They are set on rebar. So I drove rebar into the ground and just set these on top. They're just sitting there, and they did very well throughout all the wind. So that was an easy setup. These mini trees, they're also the same thing. I drove 2-foot rebar in the ground, about a foot, and set those up on it. Not a problem. They didn't blow, they didn't move. There's also a stand that they sit on. So if you're looking at these, I bought those from Gilbert, and there's a stand that they have in there as well that I built. I printed off the stand mounts from Inspired Lights, something like that, and it was fantastic. So if you don't have a 3D printer in this hobby, I would think of getting one, because it makes things easier. Spiral tree, man, that's a trooper. I have no guy wires at all, and that's just 2-foot rebar buried in the ground about a foot, and then that EMT placed over the top of it, and it didn't blow over. I'm surprised with some of the storms. It hasn't rotated. All in all, everything fared extremely well. I had a couple lights go out on the PPD wreath. Imagine that, the biggest, heaviest thing up there. I was able to get in behind the window and actually replace pixels, so that was a blessing. Everything else fared extremely well. I don't know of any bad pixels or pixels that went out. I'll find out next year when I bring them out to test. Probably not going to test before I put them away. But anyway, I know that it was very helpful last year when I watched some of the people's light show videos, how they set it up, you know, behind the scenes with the mega trees, behind the scenes with the controllers, how they mounted stuff. And I'm hoping that this will be useful to someone out there, and this will go up on my YouTube channel. If you are watching it out there, you know you've already been to Bowers Brauhaus. But it'll be at Bowers Brauhaus, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. I've got a mix of stuff on my Bowers Brauhaus, so check in, subscribe if you want. Doesn't matter, whatever. If you have any questions, drop them out there, and when I see them, I'll try to answer them. I was in your position last year trying to figure out how to do this, and you'll see my videos out there on my show. It's fairly simple. It's beautiful. I used Matos Designs. I used PPD, Pixel Pro displays for my sequencing, RGB sequences, several other out there, some free ones. One day I'll learn how to sequence, but that's not today. And Reese were bought at Boscoyo and Gilbert. And of course these were printed. I can thank Butch Napier. He was awesome. Did some awesome designs on these. Gilbert Engineering, Matos Designs, Experience Light Controllers, Culp Controllers. Little Holiday Coro. Holiday Coro did the 1.25 inch spacing on that Mega Tree strips. So, and then Peace Lights were for the stakes in the trees. Peace stakes, 13 pixel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the Bauer Light Show this year. It'll pretty much look identical next year. Maybe different songs, maybe not. Who knows? It's a big expense, so next year it might be much of the same. I know that I don't really care when I go out to see somebody's show to see something different every year, but we'll see. I might add, I've got this whole area in here that I would love to add something to. Maybe some Christmas ornaments, a 3D package. I don't know. I don't want to block my house with a mega tree, moving one over and adding a second one. I plan on trying to get some more donations of people's broken spiral trees. If I have to buy, I will, but I want to put some more spiral trees over here. Maybe several, who knows. And I mean, that's pretty much it right now. I want to try to keep it simple, but nice, and something that I can manage and store. So anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Good luck in the hobby, the rabbit hole. It was a lot more expensive, a lot more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. But it's really fun to watch people stop in front of your house. And I didn't publish much this year, so it'll be better next year. I'll be more confident in having people come over. I didn't have any issues with my show other than a couple freezes. My show ran every night. It ran from December 1st through last night, and I didn't have any issues, no problems. These schedules came on as it should, and everything ran as I expected it to. So I do have some issues with the sequences that I need to look into, but not a big deal right now. Everything was wonderful. So good luck, have fun, enjoy.